This is A View from the Bridge, take two. Official podcast of the Belfast Giants for KingdomoftheGiants.com. Today is Tuesday, the 25th of November, 2025. My name is David McGimsey. Sorry for the delay to start. As you can see, Paddy's not here, so chaos will ensue for the next hour while I'm in charge of the technical stuff. Joined, as always, by a very good friend and hero of mine, Gareth Martin. Marty, great to have you along.
Yeah, David, good to join you tonight. Thanks for having me on. It's good to recap about hockey tonight from the weekend. Some important games were had.
We're going to jump straight in with our first guest because he's been very good. This is a very, very busy week for him. We're going to add him in here and welcome along to Jeffrey Mason. Jeff, thanks very much for joining us.
No worries, gentlemen. Thanks for having me.
This is obviously Friendship 4 chat first and foremost. Mace, it's a pretty busy week for you, but exciting. The teams have started to arrive into the city and the buzz will start to build for the weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. The teams all got into Dublin yesterday and then came up to Belfast today. Got a nice sunny day. So we started off nice for them. See what the rest of the weather is in store for them when they're in their time here. But no, everybody got in. They practiced today and everyone seemed excited, happy to be here and geared up and ready to go. And I think, the four teams coming in had, I think a number of them coming into the season, the expectations weren't all that high, but they've all got off to a really good start and are playing some really good hockey. So it should be, some really good games on the weekend and also very hard to pick a winner. So I think it should be, close contests all around. So hopefully fans are in store for some exciting stuff.
I know we only got to speak sort of very briefly about it on Sunday, but a bit like after the Lord Mayor's show, you could have Notre Dame last year at Boston University. It was always going to be hard to follow that. And as you said, some of these teams maybe weren't as high profile, but their form's good. And this could be a really good addition on the Friendship 4.
Yeah, I think the Sacred Heart's a team that has been, up the top of the AHA for a number of years. We actually got two former Sacred Heart Pioneers on the current team in Ben Lake and Mike Lee. RIT is a team that came in with a new head coach. It was previously an assistant coach with the Providence Bruins last year, and they've got off to a great start. Union College, former winners of this tournament. I think maybe 2018, I think, possibly. And they've got off to a hot start and beat two Hockey East teams pretty handily, I think, last weekend. And then Miami, who for a long time in college hockey was a power and then went through a lot of really lean years. New coach, almost a whole new roster from what they had last year. And they've got off to a hot start. So everybody started really well. And like I said, it's a tough one to predict, tough one to forecast on who will take home the Bell Pot.
So, Mace, obviously you've done a lot of research, all the information about the four teams. I take it, do your duties kind of switch from being assistant coach to the Belfast Giants to more or less putting the main focus on the four teams that have arrived for this week?
Yeah, so this week is as part of my role with the organization is to help look after this and make sure everything goes smoothly. It's also an opportunity for us to as we've had a number of players over the years, play in this tournament and then eventually sign with the Giants. So it's a good opportunity for us to to see these players live in person and get some good scouting, see them practice throughout the week and then see them play games on the weekend. So, it takes my focus a little bit away this week, but it's all for a good cause and hopefully land in some players, that'll be future Giants.
Yeah, that was my next question. Obviously there's a bit of an age range. There's got a couple of rookies in there. You're going to have a couple of experienced guys. So obviously this weekend when you're watching the games, you're scouting. It isn't just to look forward to next year. It's maybe also to look at the younger guys who may be 17, 18, 19 years old, and then maybe look at them a couple of years down the line for the Giants.
Yeah, absolutely. It's anytime you can watch players live, certainly with players that potentially could come to you down the road. Most of the people that we talk to or sign with the Giants, we have watched them or talked to them for a number of years, and before it actually, comes to fruition where they sign and come over. Uh, for instance, I think, oh, quote, 3, 4 years ago, maybe more than that now. I remember watching Patrick Grasso play here in the Friendship Four for UNH. And I really liked his game then and followed him from then on. And when the time came, for him to eventually turn pro, and then the multiple years that followed, he was someone that I always kind of kept an eye on. And so when his name came up, he was somebody that we were pretty familiar with. So it's certainly, you're watching people that potentially could be, come to you next year, but you're also keeping an eye on everybody that could potentially, be a future Giant.
And Mace, I guess it's a it's a source of great pride for the city now that this is the 10th edition of it. I know Robert had dreamt these big ideas way back probably 11, 12 years ago. We probably didn't think it would be just quite the success as has been.
The city has really taken to it. I think it brings a lot of joy to the people that were involved in starting it, and it's certainly a great accomplishment. And though I always recognized as someone who played NCAA hockey how good it was, how high the quality is. Um, I'm not sure everyone who was unfamiliar with it maybe recognized that right away. So now that it's been around for, I think last year was 10 years from the start of the tournament. Um, we're seeing it in the fans that are coming out, for the people that want to be a part of it, how much they recognize the quality of the tournament, the quality of the play, the potential opportunity to see people that might come here and not only play for our team but maybe play in the Elite League. So I think it is a great source of pride. I think it's something that is, I watch a lot of NCAA games and follow a lot of things and see a lot of NCAA tournaments. And I firmly believe that outside of like the Frozen Four and the Bean Pot, that this tournament, the Friendship Four, is the best one that college hockey has, from experience, atmosphere, the whole thing. So I think it's a testament to the people who dreamt it up many years ago. And I'm sure there was a lot of people that thought they were crazy of bringing NCAA hockey over here to Northern Ireland. But it's they've been proven right time and time again.
And you talked about the potential of future Belfast Giants, future Elite League players, but we also have to talk about there's lots of future NHL. There's players here who will go to the very top of the game. I was talking to Kiefer there about a week ago, and the captain of Boston University last year, who kind of put the whole final on his back, Shane Lachance, brought Boston back from the dead, and they went on to win the tournament. Played his first NHL game for Sheldon just a couple of weeks ago there. Seeing the little video in the changing rooms of Sheldon, giving him the puck from the first game. He played a big part in a comeback win, and he's less than 12 months ago he was playing in the Odyssey.
Well, there is a number of players that have come through that have played and going on to play in the NHL. I remember when Northeastern was here, and they had well, I'm gonna forget their first names, but the kid Harris, the two D-men, Harris and Struble, one is playing in Montreal, one is playing in Boston right now. And so there's been so many that have come through. And we just missed out. We missed out on having Macklin Celebrini here by a year. He could have been with BU coming through last year. Instead, he was in the NHL playing for San Jose. But it is, you get lots of people, and with the quality of the teams that are lined up to come for the next, number of years, you're going to see more and more people that come here, play in this tournament, and their next stop is the NHL.
And is there just a few tickets left, Mace? Is still time for people to get themselves involved?
Yeah, there's definitely tickets left. We're expecting, really good numbers as we had last year as well. So I wouldn't wait too long, but there are tickets still available, and I would encourage anybody that wants to see some high level hockey and potential future Giants or future NHLers to come out and enjoy it and take it all in. And I know Sacred Heart is bringing their band, so that always adds to the atmosphere as well in the NCAA games. So it should be a great weekend, and like I said, we'll see who comes out on top at the end of it.
We'll let the ticketmaster.co.uk/friendship blah blah. It's down below, Mace, there. If you haven't got tickets yet, get yourself onto the Ticketmaster link there and get yourself some. But Mace, we can't let you go without talking a little bit about the big team. 4-point weekend. After a period on Friday, it might not look like a 4-point weekend was likely, but the boys dug deep, and 4-point weekend's a 4-point weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, points are crucial. We all know how important those points are when it comes to the end of the year, and there was definitely times over the weekend that we didn't really like our game, but then there was a lot of points where we did like our game, and certainly. Times Friday night, there was, from a coaching point of view, there was things that, we needed to correct. The boys dug deep, as you said, found a way to tie that game late with a massive goal and then win it in overtime. And when you look back at the end of the year, times like that, those are 2 points that could be extremely crucial. And then Sunday's game, didn't really love how we started. But then we found our way into that game, controlled and got possession. We're able to take the lead, control that game for a long period of time in the second, let them back in a little bit, and gave them some unnecessary life. But really liked our third period. Thought we closed the game out really well, and a lot to build on. Going into next weekend, and certainly, 4 points was massive, and like I said, from a coach's point of view, there's always things you can work on, but you got to remember to take the positives from those things and build on that, and then hopefully that carries us forward and into the weekend.
Yeah, Miss, I was actually going to touch on about being away. Obviously, we've got 5 games away. Before we played one, we've done the business against Guildford. I think, obviously, I'm watching all the home games. It just feels like there's maybe an element of pressure, an element of kind of a little bit stress within the team. Do you think these 5 away games will be good for the boys? Obviously, there's not as many eyes on them, getting away from friends and family, go on the road, go to a couple of rinks, go to obviously a couple of arenas, and just kind of play your game without that extra kind of weight on your shoulders. Do you think this will be a good kind of period before we hit the December Christmas games?
Well, I certainly hope so. And when you do get away, and especially if it's a weekend away, there's less to focus on. It's just the hockey. There's maybe less distractions. So certainly hopeful that will translate into a number of points. And I think if we can, find ways to continue to do the things that have, we've done well. And I think certainly we weren't scoring a ton of goals for a number of games. So hopefully, putting up 5 on Sunday it gives us that little extra boost going into the weekend. And I think, if we can do that, find ways to start games well, play from the front, I think we can be a pretty formidable team.
Yeah, no. Obviously, we've played 5 at home. That's including the Dundee game. So our last 5 games at home, we've only dropped 1 point. So it's not as if we've been doing bad, but you can just tell that we've been kind of chasing the games a lot. And I just know once this team gets firing all cylinders, will want to get back into the groove of more or less controlling the game, and game management is what's key. But you yourself and the coaching staff have always been have always wanted to do, and always that was your game plan. That's what you're good at doing.
Yeah, I think certainly that is something that we set out to do, is control the game. And if you can control the game, if you can find a way to get out to a lead and play from the front, you can manage things a bit better. Obviously, if you get behind early or you find yourself chasing games, it becomes it becomes a different strategy. It becomes harder to get everybody involved, to make sure that you're just rolling the lines over and the decor over, and so those things are important, and allows you to when you can get control of that game, it allows you to make sure you keep everyone in the game and keep things going. And then it's a matter of not doing anything that's going to give them momentum. I thought in the second period in Guildford, we did a really good job of taking that game over. And then we gave them a little bit of life, and it puts you on your heels a little bit. But we did a good job to hold on. We got some big saves when we needed them. And then we were able to, extend that lead and, close that game out. So if we can continue to do those things going forward, I think we'll be sitting in a pretty good spot come the end.
Well, Miss, listen, we appreciate you coming on such short notice, especially with such a busy week. And I know it's bedtime now. So listen, good luck with the friendship for this weekend. Hope for a very successful one, and all the best for the Giants this weekend also. So cheers, man.
Cheers, fellas. Appreciate you having me.
It's go time. It's show time. It's go time. The whole time. Scoring goals time. Let them know time. It's go time. The whole time. Scoring goals time. Let them know time.
Well, Marty, let's crack on with the games from the weekend. We've got another guest popping in here. Just need to send a wee message here while you're chatting. So first up let's see if I can do this, Marty, because this is where I start to panic. It worked. The Friday night, wasn't it? The home win against the Coventry Blaze. Goals, an early goal from Gleeson for them, but we pulled one back very quickly with Jake Cadet, and they obviously Elijah Barriga scored for them to put them bring it 2 each, and then Gleeson again with a third. And it looked that was going to be all she wrote, but when with the extra man, with the goalie pulled, it was Alexi Gravel nets, wasn't it, on Friday night with the goalie pulled. We managed to get that equaliser really from Jordan Kawaguchi, and ended up going the full way in overtime and in the penalty shots, where Patrick Garasso came up with the game-winning goal to win 4-3 for the Belfast Giants. Your own thoughts on the game, Marty?
Do you know what? It was a scrappy game, but it was entertaining game. For the neutral, I thought it was a good game. Sorry, if you were neutral, I thought it would be a good game to watch. Obviously, when you're watching the Giants, you're wanting the passing to be a little bit better. I also thought Coventry's passing, it just wasn't slick between both teams. I think both teams did well in the neutral zone, prevented that kind of clean pass and entry into the offensive zone. But the Gleeson goal, it was actually him who skated out of his own defensive zone, got into the neutral zone, chipped it in, then forechecked, battled hard in the corner. It was actually him that forced it. I think it was three of our guys in the corner. He forced it out, and then it was a good poke check by Ruffin, and then he actually picks it up. So to be honest, the Gleeson deserved that goal all round. It was just good hard work from his own end, and then just doing the dirty work to then be rewarded with that loose puck. But yeah, from there it was a bit of a shock, I thought. And then we think we had a disallowed goal as well, from, it was either Nicholas Gay or Jake Cadet, but goal was disallowed. And then when this face-off draw for the equalising goal, then the one that actually stood, I think it was a great clean face-off. I think it came back to Jake Cadet, and I think it just hits Saucerman on the way through, and then that just kind of puts off The netminder Stewart, he was going to his right, and then he had to just try go left, and by that stage, it was in the back of the net. But you could just sense the Giants were pushing, and you could just sense it was coming. But I think it was the second period. Then we got the second goal. It went on to the power play, and I just think JJ Pekinich has been immense on that first unit. His passing has been really stand out for me. And last weekend, he fed Nicholas Gay a lovely one-time shot. Gay scored in the power play, and again on Friday night, same thing, perfect weighted sauce pass. When Nick Gay one-timed it, it was in and out that quick. I said it was a crossbar, and actually Pekinich got the puck as well and went to pass it back to him, and then all of a sudden realised that everyone's cheering. It was that cleanest shot. But yeah, for that to go 2-1 ahead, I thought, all right, boys will settle down and then take it to the Blaze. But Elijah Bariga, a player I was sorry to see leave for the Giants, he just kept on plugging away. He was first line centre. I like him on the centre. I know he played a lot for us on the wing, but I think centre suits him here with the Coventry Blaze, and he was just being a real menace, forechecking well, spreading, body, legs. Anytime our D were trying to make an outlet or a quick up, kind of in that high blue, and he caught Bo Hansen out, went down, was falling to his knees and scored a goal. I probably got overexcited for him scoring because obviously I'm a big fan of Bariga, but I was acknowledging that it was a good hockey play, and when you see someone like Bariga putting in the hard forecheck effort of what a fourth liner would do, and then coming up with first line skills, you have to applaud it. And then obviously then they get the lead again with Gleason. I thought Gleason played really well for them. Robbins, their new signing, I believe it was his debut that night. Him and Bariga, they certainly stood out. And once they got that goal at the end of the second period, it was just, the wind was kind of took out of the sails of the Giants. The crowd were deflated, and the crowd were quiet, let's be honest, 19 minutes more or less into that third period. And then once it was a wonder move by Adam Keefe on the saving his timeout right into the last minute, pulls the timeout, and then the guys come out 6-on-5, set up perfectly, and then Kawaguchi walks in and obviously ties things up. And then, as you know, Davey, the overtime, it was probably the most entertaining overtime I've seen, even though I did believe that the Blaze did have more opportunity. But for me, Gravel stood on his head more or less in that overtime to more or less take it to the shootout. And then the shootout, we were just more superior. We got 2 goals. Blaze, I didn't really feel that their shootout shots were great. And I think we did deserve the 2 points in the end. But at the same time, I think the Blaze did deserve the points. So I think, obviously, as mates have said, they were happy to get that win in the end. But at the same time, I think the Blaze be happy enough coming to Belfast and getting the point.
Let's have a little word for, I guess, the resilience of the team. We didn't go away. We could have folded at certain stages in this. Like we didn't, your co-commentator as well, as it said that, the team wasn't playing as well as it has maybe in the last couple of weeks at the SSE. It's hard for a crowd to get into a game when kind of needs to be mutual. The team feeds off the crowd feeds off the team, which came first, the chicken and the egg kind of thing. But it seemed quiet for periods on Friday night, and then, a big hit maybe comes in, or the Giants got a timely goal to get us back into it. But it seemed like this was going to be all she wrote with sort of 55 minutes on the clock. It seemed like, this is going to be one game too far for us. But the resilience to come back in there, hang in, wait for those grade A opportunities and get them when they come along.
That said, a lot of people would kind of just throw the can in and just say, flip, we're chasing a game here, we're done for, kind of glass half empty kind of attitude. But look, maybe it's a bit easier coming from me because I still play a bit of ice hockey, and even though I play at a lot lower level now, even when you're a couple of goals down, if you just keep on that, you just have that belief and you have the right people around you, you can go and get them goals back and pull it back. And even when I was on comms there on Friday night, I was just saying, look, 10 minutes to go, it's fine. It'll be fine. Alan Keith and the coaching staff, they'll not get too nervous. They'll not, they're looked over to the bench a few times. They weren't shouting and screaming. It was all calm, cool, collected. They knew, they had the belief that they can go back and do it. They did it against Manchester there the other week, and then again, look, they did it again on Friday night here against the Blaze. And as Mace had said, obviously they would like to be in control of the game rather than chasing the game. But when you're chasing the game and you've got the experience around you, and you have you have the right heads on that team, and there's no panic, then it's a 60-minute game, and everyone just needs to keep that belief right until the final seconds. And what was it when we got the equaliser? I think it was on 33 seconds to go. So look, you got to stay on board. I've seen a lot of people commenting saying they switched off kind of 10 minutes to go in the third period and things like that, but you can't do that in the game of hockey. It's a unique sport, and anything can happen, as you well know, David.
I would just say that, like, over the last couple of weekends when you've been on with Michael, you have been positive there, and this is going to come around. We're going to be okay here, and as it proved on Sunday, you were right again. Or it's Friday, Friday.
And yeah, just sometimes you can just tell. I just think, as you said, that hit to get the crowd engaged, or maybe that nice pass, or you just see a couple of players, driving the net, it's just maybe being half a foot too far in front or behind, and you just know in these damn kind of minutes it's just going to come, because when the defending team are always on the back foot and they're chasing shadows and keeping the players, they're trying to keep it tight, get a stick, keep players wide, you're losing so much more energy than when you're in possession. And that's one thing the Giants are really good at when teams are when teams are ahead and they're having to defend a lot. They're really good at grinding them down and making them tired. And you could just see Coventry's game was just slightly they were getting a little bit tired as the game was creeping on, especially going into the last 5 minutes of regulation. But then when I went, and saying that though, but when I went to 3-on-3 hockey, then the Blaze more or less went for it. It just seems that in overtime, we've had overtime twice now in the last 8 days in the SSE, and it just seems that the away team is just throwing everything at it, all gun attack in overtime. But Giants weathered that storm, and then obviously, as I said, the shootout, we were more superior.
Let's just close this out with hearing what the coaches have to say.
I thought large portions of the game I thought we were good, and large portions of the game I thought kind of shot ourselves in the foot. And not to take anything away from Coventry, I thought they worked hard and probably created those mistakes from us. But certainly, the first goal we give up, it's a 2 versus 3 and behind the net, and we lose that battle and we give up the net front. The second goal against, we turn a puck over going back into our zone, and we don't win a battle, and that one ends up in the back of our net. And we take a penalty and they go up. What I did like was I liked the third period. I thought that we kept pushing despite not getting as many looks as we wanted, and guys kept going there. And obviously a very big 6-on-5 goal there. We need to win games all sorts of ways, and that's certainly one of them. I mean, that's a big 2 points, all things considered. Can we be better? Certainly, yes. We're going to have to be on Sunday, and we're going to have to be going forward. We know that as a group, and we'll just keep trying to find solutions here.
Yeah, you know what? It was a step in the right direction for our group. Thought they had a great week of practice, and they came out ready to have a high work rate, high compete. And for a lot of the game, I thought we played really well. Like, certainly Belfast had a few push moments where we had to bend and not break, and it's a tough pill to swallow, letting up the 6-on-5 goal. But I think it's something for our group to be proud of, but also something we need to build on. And we've talked a lot about consistency, so it's bringing in that effort consistently now.
I'll get rid of that. So, Marty, we're going to move on now to Sunday, and we're going to add in our very special guest, Jackson. Can you do what Paddy does. Can you turn your phone that way? Makes it bigger. Just makes it bigger. There we are.
Am I in this right now? I can't hear you guys.
Oh,
We can hear you perfect.
My alarm went off right before I went in here. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I can't hear a word you're saying.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is I will just for now we'll remove Wes. I'll send him a message, just saying to leave and come back in. Sorry about this. Oh, he has. He's done that anyway. So I will move to the. Let's see if we'll go here, Marty. What we'll do is we will play. First of all, it was a 5-2 win for the Belfast Giants. The Guildford Flames came out with a really early goal, answered again by the Belfast Giants, 1 each at the end of the first. And then I think, as Mace said, I felt we kind of took control of the game after that, got a bit of a lead. They pegged us back towards the end of the second period, and then third period. It was a bit of a run and gun game after that, but some big goaltending saves, and it kept us in it. And the goals at the end from Jake Godet standing in his office, standing in the blue paint as he's done so often. But let's hear what the coaches have to say.
Tough loss for us. To recap, really good first period. I thought we were really good. Energy, a lot of good execution in that first, and then the first 10 minutes, 12 minutes of that second period, I would say, it just wasn't good enough. Belfast came out with purpose. They started to win a lot of battles. They started to drive pucks low into our D zone, and we were just locked-legged. It was a tough watch, if I'm honest. Got back into it a little bit at the end of the second, and then the third, obviously, there was a bit of pushback again. But listen, overall, like, the best team won tonight, and sometimes you've just got to give the other team credit. And Belfast, I thought they played a really good 60-minute game tonight, and if anything, we just looked a tired team tonight. We looked a tired team, and we lost a lot of battles that, I've seen this team win those battles in the last few weeks. But again, no excuses. The better team won tonight, and rightly so. But yeah, it's tough. But again, we got to dust ourselves down and have a good week and go again.
I didn't love our first period. I thought once we got that power play goal, I thought that we were pretty energized by that, and I thought we had a very good, probably, I'd say 15 minutes there in the second period there, where we didn't give them a whole lot. We built on our lead there. I thought that we had some timely scoring there. Obviously, that getting another one off that face off and another big power play goal there kind of put things into control for us there. And then, we make a mistake, it kind of gets back, and we give them a bit of life there at the end of the second. But I did really like our third period. That's one of the things that we talked about there. We did bend there a little, and we didn't break because Jackson made a couple very fantastic saves that would have changed the game for Guildford. There would have been 3-3 there with half a period left. Instead we got to go down the other end and get one of our own. I thought we earned it though. I thought we earned a big 2 points in regulation there by playing the right way there in the third period, and I thought everybody contributed, which was a nice factor for us as a group. Like I said, Jackson had some very big timely saves during the third period, and I thought that we had production there from a number of guys tonight, which was nice to see, and it's going to do wonders for their conference and us as a group as well. First 4-point week in here in a while, so we're very happy with that.
Let's try and bring Jackson back in. Can you hear us now, mate?
Oh yeah, all good.
That's perfect. So I don't know if you heard Adam's comments there, Jackson. We're going to talk about the Guildford game here. I'll stick the highlights on it as we play along here. I'll mute them too. It wasn't the best first period of our season, but we grew into the game through that second, and then, as Adam said, a couple of big saves from yourself in the third to try and give the team the chance to win, which we did.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I thought Guildford came up pretty hard. Obviously, playing there previously, it's a hard rink to play in. They're a good team. They have good skill, especially up front. And I thought, the guys battled great. I thought, at the end of the day, I thought we were the better team and deserved the 2 points. But obviously, we gave them a little bit of life there, kind of at the end of the second with a 2-on-1 goal. And, they pushed hard, and we were lucky enough to kind of hold them off. And then we go down and score there to kind of take control and the lead of the game.
Just a bit that. Trying not to make an excuse here, but the old bus legs excuse, a bit of a travel day, you're flying in there, you're coming in, and it was just a bit of a slow start.
Maybe a little bit, I guess, but I mean that's no excuse for us. Kind of like what you just said, we're so used to it now, especially a lot of us. We've been doing it for years, some of us, and that's no reason to kind of come out slow. But I thought we were fine. I thought there's two teams playing out there, to be honest, and they just played well to start off the game, and I thought we kind of battled through that and did our job at the end of the day.
And sometimes it just takes that extra man, and in the case of a little penalty, and Jordan, as he's done so many times this season, just steps in there and absolutely rips a laser into the top corner.
Yeah, no, 100%. He's been playing great right now, and it's fun to watch.
Jackson, you've obviously been around the Giants now for a number of years, yourself and Andrew Dixon, and obviously you've had not a lot of, but you've had a right number of import goalies coming in over the years. Some will stay for a season, some will stay for 2 seasons. How have things kind of changed? Obviously you would have been younger a few years ago. You probably would have been a little bit mentored. Is the rules kind of starting to change now where you're maybe starting to maybe 50-50, or are you starting to mentor kind of the new younger import goalies coming in?
Yeah, maybe a little bit different. I think obviously in the past for myself, it's always been okay. You've always had older guys, other older goalies that you're kind of playing with. And now obviously this year I am the older goalie. I guess other than Dicko, but between myself and Alexis. But I think he's been playing great. He's obviously, he's been battling every day in practice. And we have a really good goalie group dynamic, to be honest with you, with the three of us. We go out early every single day before practice, work on things that we need to work on. We kind of police and coach ourselves, to be honest with you, when it comes to the goalie specific stuff. And that seems to work really well for us. And I'm glad that he's been getting in the last couple of games and doing so well. It's really good to see, and the hard work's paying off. And I think you need, in our league, especially nowadays, you really do need 2 goalies, and you really need them both playing well if you have any aspiration to win trophies. So I'm glad that we're kind of all on board together, and we'll see what happens as we go forward.
Yeah, that was the next question. Obviously you're competing to be number one. Alexi's been competing to be number one, but is it very important to also have that good mutual friendship where you can then obviously, when he's have a bad day at practice, or when he is playing a lot better, it's just to more or less have each other's back? Obviously the dynamics of a goalie is completely different than player. Is it vitally important that you're always there for one another to back each other?
Yeah, 100%, to encourage each other, and as well too when things don't go well. Like for example, the game in Manchester where we're down 3-0, and I come out and he goes in, plays well, and the team lights it up in the third period, and you come back and win a game. And it's all about getting points for us, to be honest with you. And no one goalie is going to play all 70 or 80 games or whatever it is we end up playing when it's all said and done. So I think you really need 2 guys, or 3 guys in our case, to rely on one another. And Dicko's huge as well. Obviously, on the weekend there, he backs up. We get to dress another import player, and that's massive for us as well. So I think the 3 of us, the tandem we have right now, is going pretty well.
Jackson, one of the key, I paused it here, one of the key moments of the game, 3-2 Belfast. It's not that long left in the game. It's maybe, 6-7 minutes maybe left, not even that. And big save. It's just coming off this big save. But how much do you get of the second one? It's not this one. This is the one that hits the post. But just after this, they come down. You make a massive kick save, and then it could be this one here, and then the rebound. Definitely, you're getting a wee bit of that, aren't you?
Yeah, I got a piece of it with my stick or my glove when I was diving across there. So it was a little bit lucky, to be honest with you, but got just enough of it to keep it out.
And then another big weekend for us here, both on the road, Dundee and Glasgow. With the Friendship 4 being in town, another weekend on the road, so that'll be 3 games in the bounce. But you guys will be up for that travel schedule.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're used to it. But no, yeah, definitely. I mean, every point for us going forward really is massive. And obviously, Dundee's had our number this year quite a few times. So we kind of owe them, to be honest with you, going up there. And they're a hard team to play, especially they have good skill up front. They get a lot of good grade A's and things like that. And obviously, Glasgow's a great team as well, too, this year. So it really is, it's going to be a hard weekend, but we've got a lot of prep here coming up, practice tomorrow and the next day, and then kind of get ready for them. And I'm looking forward to it.
I spoke to Mark Lefebvre earlier. It'll be later on in the show, and we talked about the importance of December. We're just coming into it now. This will be the first couple of games. Well, this will be the last games in November. The month of December is such a busy month of hockey. We've actually got quite lucky with fixtures this year, just around that Christmas week, having a few days off. But come the 1st of January, this is moving month. This is like a golf term, this is moving day. This, the month of December, whenever you come out of this, you really know where you are looking down the stretch.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the way I've always kind of looked at it in the past is, December, there's a lot of games, so a lot of chances to kind of, gain points, obviously lose points as well. But you really want to come out of it. If you come out of, December, when you get into kind of that end of January time and you're in the mix, your goal is to be really in the mix near first place or close enough within striking distance to kind of make that difference down the final stretch. So that's kind of how I kind of look at the Christmas schedule.
And one last thing before we let you go. It's been 25 years or so in the making of the Belfast Giants to finally get the brother in tandem, 74-1 in the same team. Is it a bit of fun playing with Brandon? Although he's had a bit of bad luck the last few games there.
Yeah, he got hit in the face pretty hard on Friday, and then I thought he broke his nose at first. He's fine. He's all right. His nose just swelled up, and then he got hit again on Sunday right in the face. And I, obviously, as his brother, I feel bad, but also chuckle at the same time too. No, he's been fine. He's really enjoying it. Obviously, it's a new environment for him as well too, coming to Belfast. Obviously, from playing in Sheffield before, but he's liking it and enjoying it. And obviously, I know my mom and dad are definitely enjoying it. So I'm sure they're going to be over at some point here this season.
I'm talking of that. I can see the list of people watching here. There's a lot of people here that were watching the Giants when Dad was here. How's Dave doing?
Good. Same old Dave, just hanging out. He was coaching there for a little bit, and then I'm not sure what he's doing right now, but obviously he's just chilling.
Well, you give him our best, though, if you're talking to him before we are. But
Will do.
Jackson, thank you so much for taking time out tonight. Come talk to us. Good luck in Glasgow and Dundee at the weekend, and we'll get to catch up with you really soon.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you very much.
Cheers. So, Marty, we've kind of covered off the Guildford game there, unless you've got anything you want to add yourself.
No, I'm glad you brought that up about the two vital saves that Jackson did, and certainly Ethan Strangle wanted to be getting that shot back again. I thought he should have buried it, but Jackson just said there he got a little piece of it, and that was certainly that more or less saved the game for us, because then we just went on to get the extra couple of goals in and just see it off. But if they had got the equaliser there, then it would have been another dogfight to the end. So yeah, Jackson obviously was praised there by Adam as well, and he was the main focus point in that game.
Yeah, if you look at the scoreline and you see 5-2, you think it was a massive, fairly comfortable win. At 3-2, Jackson doesn't make that save 3-each. It can turn very quickly. We talked about momentum on the Friday night game. We lost a very close 2-1 game down Guildford. It only seems like a couple of weeks ago. I don't know. Can't remember. Certainly within the last month. So it was really, really positive to go on and push through that and come out with a 5-2 win. But listen, we move on. Obviously, this weekend, our first up game is against the who's it against? It's against Dundee Stars. And I got a chance earlier today to speak with Mark Lefebvre. Thanks for joining us again, Coach. It's always lovely to have you on. This must mean that the Belfast Giants are up against the Dundee Stars again.
Which is the 12th time already this season. Already, I'm losing count. But no, it's always exciting when we play you guys. I think there's been some good physical battles the last few years. I think there's a few games this year that have been quite physical as well. But I think you guys have turned the corner a little bit as well in terms of your play. So we're excited to play you guys in the league for once and not just the cup.
Yeah, it's all cup action so far this season, but there's been some good results in there for you that'll take a lot of heart out of.
Yeah, exactly. I think we had a good start in the cup, and then obviously we saw what happened towards the end of it. But we know it's one of those things we have to learn from, and I think we've done that in mostly our league play since then. Obviously, we had won 3 in a row going into the Nottingham game on Sunday, and we just came up a little bit short against them. But it's a work in progress with our group right now.
Can you take some positive side of the Challenge Cup group? It was sitting pretty at one stage, and just towards the end, it kind of fell apart just a little bit.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is when we play simple, we're a good hockey team, and we try to do this razzle dazzle stuff that maybe the top teams can get away with, and sometimes, and we're just not built like that. We have to keep things simple, get pucks deep, get on the forecheck, protect our slot more. Special teams from the power play has been very good for us so far this season. Penalty kill right now has not been very good, so that's something we have to work on. But there's a lot of little things that happen in the cup, good and bad, that we need to take in the league play as well.
And you've got two good goaltenders this season. You've sort of split them near enough 50-50, I guess. I think one's played 11, one's played 10 through your first 21. Are you happy with how that tandem's working?
Yeah, for the most part, all you can ask for your goal is give you a chance to win every night. That's all you ask for. Make the routine saves, come up with some big saves when you need it in times of games when you're tied or down a goal or up a goal. So far, so good with them. Obviously, it's a work in progress how we're going to work them. Obviously, Jarrett was the de facto number one for the last half of last season. When we played you guys in the playoffs, obviously he was a starter for that. But we have Emil in there, who's a veteran goalie. He's played in the SHL in Denmark and Allsvenskan his whole career. So he gives us some stability back there behind our defense. So we'll probably run with Emil a little bit more, but it's a good challenge for each guy to step up every night, knowing there's another guy that's capable of playing goal as well.
And it's not all doom and gloom. The start of the league season probably isn't what you want. So have you set any sort of mini targets, or is it just weekend by weekend here?
Our biggest thing is make sure we pick up something out of every weekend. I think the league's too good now with so much parity. You can't go 0 for 2 on a weekend. You need to get something out of it, whether it's 1 point in overtime or a shootout, 2 points for the win, 3 points, 4 points. Obviously, you're always striving for those 4 points, but you have to get something out of it every weekend. This past weekend, we had the weekend before it started, actually, when we beat Cardiff, was our only game of the weekend. Down 4-1. We showed a lot of care to come back and win that in regulation, 5-4 on home ice against a very good Cardiff team. And then it rolled into Saturday in Coventry, which is a team we're probably going to be competing with for playoff spots. And at the end of the season, came up with a big victory there. And then Sunday, like I said, we fell a little bit short against Nottingham. But the big thing for us, to get back to your question, is we just got to pick up something every weekend.
I guess the importance of home ice can't be understated there. You talk about coming back there and getting the crowd involved, and that helps get people on the, hopefully this weekend when the big team are in town.
Yeah, 100%. I think, our crowd gets going when they really want to. I know there's the fans behind the opposing team's bench like to give it to the opposing team's bench as well, and their staff and their players. So they like to get going, but we need to give them something to cheer about. That starts with good hockey and good play. But like last year, our home record wasn't very good. Our road record was much better.
Thanks for joining us again, Coach. It's always lovely to have you. Well, there you go, Marty. As usual, Davey makes a mess of something. But Mark Lefebvre just went on to say his favourite team outside Dundee's Belfast. I don't know what I've done to that the rest of that video, but apologies for the sound levels on as well. Here, I'm going to bring you back with this is Betty. Betty is an assistance dog to my good friend Tim Baker. Made her first appearance at the SSE on Saturday or on Friday night for the Coventry Blaze game. Tim and his wife were able to come over. Betty flew over and had a really good time. Obviously, saw the first time Tim has saw the team win in the SSE since 2011. Tim's a faithful supporter on the road, doesn't get to go so many games at the SSE, so it was absolutely brilliant to see these pictures coming back on over the weekend. But here's one that we announced on, and you'll be very well placed to talk about this. They used to say he's grey as old, his skates are made of gold, but we used to say he's grey as old, his clipboard's made of gold as he made that step behind the bench. Stewie, over the first number of seasons in the ISL, never missed a game. An Iron Man. When the going got tough for this club, he stepped behind the bench, and he and this is where you come into the whole Giants pantheon. He took the chance on Northern Ireland kids like yourself, like Mark, Gimper, Wally, Gareth, all these guys who, and they came along and got their first opportunities, and even the likes of Dermot Kelly and stuff back then. He left the club for a number of years with different coaching opportunities he took, but he's came back behind the bench. He's won it all at the club, trophies-wise, but that game on Sunday night was his 900th win. That was 900th game, his 900th win as a Belfast Giant, and as Max Stewart wrote on Twitter today, the GOAT.
Exactly. 900. Flip, how many games has he been involved in then? Do you have that statistic?
I do, but just not up on the screen.
No,
I went over it with him.
Yeah, 900 is unbelievable. Not too many people reach that figure in this league for appearances, let alone wins. So no, Stu's a great guy. Still see him once a week. Still see him every Wednesday, and quite enough, man. But once he gets chatting and rolling, he's hilarious. And yeah, for a player, he was an amazing player. I love watching his game. I was fortunate to play along with him when I signed in 2003 with him, and he was the player coach. And I've also been on the bench, or I've also been on the ice when he's been the bench coach as well. So his knowledge, he's forgot more than most of us know. To be fair, he just grows with the game as well. You know, he isn't that kind of old school where it's always the old stuff. He just grows with the development of the game, and he's so knowledgeable. And yeah, he's a gem for the Belfast Giants organization.
You were telling me a wee story the other day there, Marty, about there was a game. It was a game in Sheffield. Oh, we're talking 21 years ago now.
Yeah,
and there was
2004.
I think it was the 2004-05 season or 3-4. It was the first year of the EIHL anyway. And the line on the ice was, it would have been Lee Jamison probably and Jason Bowen on D.
Yeah.
Yourself, Mark Morrison and Paxton Schulte on the ice. Paxton had a fight, I think, just maybe the shift previous or whatever he was done in from it, and a bit of a melee ensued, and he ended up pairing up with Dion Darling. It was quite a tilly, that one.
Yeah, he kind of started off with Mark Dudium. Mark, who obviously went on to play with the Giants a couple of years later, but him and Mark kind of started, and then Dion Darling skated off from the bench. And then I can remember just looking around to grab a guy. So everyone had grabbed the guy, and there was no one to grab. And then Dion Darling came in, and when he came in, I tried to grab him, but he was a heavyweight. He just kind of brushed me to the side. And then him and Paxton were at it. And then I remember just grabbing Mark, and he was a bit gassed from fighting Paxton. And then I felt so bad for Paxton. And afterwards, he literally had two scraps, and Dion Darling was a really good fighter, as you well know as well.
So let's move it on. But massive congratulations to Stu. It's incredible. It's incredible. I think the only one that there's only two really that are probably going to have a chance of that, and that's Taff and Kiefer, and their stats are all together. Kiefer's is harder to do because he missed a few games here and there with suspensions, and I wouldn't have just exactly the records. Pretty close. You know, Taff and Stay are easy because you know that they were there for all those games. But we'll work on those over the next few weeks. A little bit of news around the league here. Congratulations to Mark Richardson on breaking. Excuse me, I've dropped my pen and I need it, lads. Oh, and lassies. Mark, the Devils defenseman, played his 1,178th game in the Elite League, and John O'Phillips was able to go down to Cardiff there and present them a little trophy before the game. Liam Sewell was down there as well and made a bit of a fuss of him, but Mark Richardson's a man that has broke Belfast hearts on many as an occasion, and a great smooth skating asset to this league.
Yeah, I really enjoy his game. Mark Richardson, he's, as you say, play forward, play D, or sorry, you say he's a smooth skating player, and we've seen him play forward, we've seen him play D. He's always going to kind of be on that game sheet, isn't he? If he doesn't want to retire, if he wants to keep on making himself available, any coach that's in Cardiff is certainly going to always want him around. Just a great guy. Obviously, he won a few trophies in his day, and it was a nice touch for obviously John Phillips to go down there and more or less pass the mantle over to him.
Yeah, there's a great video to go along with this that the Elite League have put up there. If you want to go and have a look at it, it plays a few of Mark's highlights over the years, and he lifts every trophy going. The Challenge Cup's lifted, the Monteith Bowl, as it was then, was lifted, the Continental Cup, and of course he's won the playoffs on a number of occasions for that team. But he also represented GB with great honour, Marty, and many world champs.
Yeah, he's done it all, hasn't he? He's been in the top group. He's obviously brought, when the team had, when GB had slipped down then in the likes of Pool B, then he's been part of the rebuild to then get them back up again. So he's been kind of that journeyman as well within the GB team. And obviously, like, these guys, they're few and far between, aren't they? Really? And looking at the new kind of GB squad that they had there a couple of weeks ago, it looks like they're building to the future. Obviously, shout out there to Cal Beatty, making it into the squad. So the likes of the coaching staff there, they'll be looking to Mark then to obviously guide them guys on, and obviously with his experience then, whether if it is a playing capacity or not, or obviously a coaching, assistant coach capacity, he'll be giving these new young guys the direction and obviously trying to get the longevity out of their international careers.
You talk to Kel there, it's absolutely brilliant to see these young Belfast lads doing so well. Kel really ripping it up for Solway, Carter Cameron doing well, Mac. It's really good to see these young guys. But let's look at the league table for now, as fractured as it is, because so many teams have played different amounts of games. Panthers sitting on top there. They haven't really faced all that much adversity in terms of players being in or out this season so far. I'm sure their time will come. Sheffield second, Cardiff, Glasgow, Manchester, and ourselves, 15 points from 11 games, and then Guildford, and then the teams we play at the weekend. Dundee, we've only played 9 games, Marty, but as I say, I generally only doing this because Paddy's not here. I generally, and as I said, the Mark and Jackson don't really look at the league table until January.
No, I've heard you say that so many times. Once that Christmas period's over, then you can really start looking at it. But look, it's looking healthy for the Giants. Of course it is. The 68% win percentage there. Obviously, the likes of the Panthers are way ahead there on 85%. But look, we've played them. We beat them. We were we've took it to them, and we know that we're capable of beating them. But obviously, they've just had a good run of it, and we've had a few tricky away games. So once we get them home games in around Christmas time, I think if we can do the business there, then that's when we kind of kick on and then go into our stride. And then obviously there's a couple of important games coming up in January that we really look forward to, with the likes of the Panthers, and then a double header with the Steelers then mid-January. So I think going forward here, these next 4 away games, and then all the December games, if we can get some healthy points on the board there, this is where we kind of kick into our own.
Marty, unless you've got anything else, I think that's us almost done, because I'm not a great fan of the section of let's look forward to the weekend, so we don't have to. We played the chat we had with Mark Lefebvre, and we'll thank him very much for that. If you want to see the games at the weekend, you're not able to get to them, hopefully it'll scroll around here in a little second, but Dundee Stars TV, Glasgow Clan TV will be your places to get them. With the guys at Dundee, you can find out what they've had for their tea, and I'm sure on Sunday or Saturday, I can't remember which day the game's on, but you'll be able to, it'll be Aaron Murphy with the comms on that one. Marty, any other business?
No, I'm all good. I've nothing to add, buddy.
There we go. At Dundee Stars, Friday 20th, 7:30, Dundee Ice Stars TV. It just went too quick. Look it up on the internet, people. And, so in closing, obviously, Paddy wasn't here this week. Our show's entitled Bill, and this show is to his memory. I wish I'd done that smoother, but there is definitely an outro. There probably is, but we're not getting it this week. See you next time on A View from